A long time ago, King Kyle disappeared after bringing peace to the world by defeating Demon Lord Angmon. 100 years later, demons begin to be active, once again claiming their leader's return, until Kaesel, a young knight apprentice, finds out that he's King Kyle's son, and the only one who can wield the holy sword to defeat the Demon Lord. Kaesel is a young teenager knight apprentice. He usually trains with his old friend Claus, but he somewhat lacks talent. He keeps getting beaten up. Some of the other knights gossip and gives Kaesel advice on how to improve his swordsman techniques. Later, while patrolling the streets, Kaesel and Fleg notices a dark elf. The people in town get worried for this elf, and Fleg returns to report. While talking a break, Kaesel notices Frey in town, and they talk about their memories of hunting insects along with Claus. Meanwhile, in the castle, Bale informs the king about the demons in Orvelia, and the king orders to send some scouts. Bale, along with other people, discusses how King Kyle destroyed Dark Lord Angmon. Morhaum enters and introduces Rahit, the same elf who's the leader of a dark elf mercenary gang named Black Edge. The king tells everyone the mercenaries will work for them, which makes everyone angry. At night, Claus and other knights discuss going for the demons with Kaesel. Later, the Black Edge discusses taking over the nation to get revenge. The next morning, only one of the scouts returns to report they encountered demons. Morhaum suggests using Black Edge's power to kill the demons. Meanwhile, Frey and Kaesel decide to go and look for Claus because they don't want to lose someone important to them. Upon arriving in the forest, Kaesel and Frey find dead scouts, but suddenly they get attacked by demons. They try to run back, but Maria appears and attacks Kaesel. They feel their end is near, until Rahit with his friends saves them from demons and informs them of their hiring for a mission to finish demons. Kaesel and Frey see Roy and Cleo, who come to the forest looking for them, and they move to a cliff to meet Dominix. With Cleo's magic, they all reach the Tower of Sage and meet the great sage Dominix, who reveals Claus is alive to them. Claus wakes up and talks about the fight, while Kaesel discusses the witch. Maria and Dominix suggest they stay in the tower. Later, Cleo shows Frey her room and talks about her life as being sorceress in the Tower of Sage. Frey sees Kaesel sitting outside. She approaches to talk about how he wants to be strong enough to protect loved ones while remembering his mother's death. Meanwhile, Dominix wants to talk to Kaesel and Frey. He asks Kaesel if his mother told him about his father, to which he replies no. Dominix shockingly says that Kaesel is King Kyle's son. Kaesel thinks it's a joke since King Kyle died 100 years ago. However, Dominix tells Frey and Kaesel about King Kyle and his older half-sister Ilia, who promised to help. He also tells them about Kyle's relationship with Arlette, Kaesel's mother. King Kyle was forced to leave Arlette to defeat the demons. Then, suddenly, his father died, and Kyle had to ascend the throne. He gathered allies to defeat demons. Meanwhile, he met Arlette in a shelter and found out about his child Kaesel. Lua, the goddess of light, gave the holy sword Ea to King Kyle to defeat the Dark Lord while Ilia studied techno-magic. They know Ilia tried to create a fake holy sword. Dominix keeps on telling about that day when Malduk brought Dark Lord Angmon, but King Kyle defeated him and disappeared. Demons killed Ilia, but Orvelia still declared she was guilty, and all the Dark Elves were persecuted. Kaesel asks about his mother. Dominix says he was afraid that the Dark Lord was still alive, and only Kyle's son could bear the holy sword. So he decided to put her to sleep for almost 100 years, and when she woke up she gave birth to Kaesel. But she was killed by demons and Dominix sent Kaesel to an orphanage. Dominix tells Kaesel to meet Lorraine, and Cleo and Roy will also support them. The Black Edge members on the other end still blame Ilia for their miserable life. They all head towards the forest of Elidora, but Cleo doubts Kaesel being the son of King Kyle. Frey on the other end believes in it. Suddenly, they get attacked by demons. Roy fights them, until Selene arrives and saves them. Everyone introduces themselves to her. Selene leads them to Master Lorraine. While moving, they hear that they are not welcomed in the forest, revealing that Selene is a princess. Suddenly Selene disappears, and they all get lost in some Treant's tricks. Selene orders to open the way, but in vain. Then a baby Treant named Necha appears and leads everyone to Selene. They decide to take a rest and discuss the Holy Sword and the return of Dark Lord Angmon. The Holy Sword and the Dark Lord appeared only once in King Kyle's era, and the goddess chose him to defeat the Dark Lord. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise and encounter a big Treant. The demon attacks them, and they all fight together. However, Necha gets killed by protecting Kaesel, which infuriates him, and he angrily kills the demon. Selene calms Kaesel and sees Master Lorraine. Master Lorraine appreciates Kaesel and everyone for saving the forest of Elidora. However, Kaesel feels guilty as he couldn't protect Netcha. Kaesel explains the reason for their coming. Lorraine says she can't unseal the holy sword yet. The sword is so strong that it would kill Kaesel. Later, they bury Netcha in his favorite spot where he liked to play. Lorraine asks Selene if Kaesel can handle the holy sword's power, but Selene is unsure because of Kaesel's anger problem. Kaesel goes to Netcha's place and talks about his anger issue, which he wants to solve, and Selene overhears him. Soon after, a tree sprout arises from the soil where Netcha was buried, to which, Selene explains, Netcha is cheering them up. Afterwards, Lorraine again questions Selene, and she gives her answer in favor of Kaesel. Master undoes the seal on Holy Sword, but reveals that there are 2 more locks. They all leave the forest to go to Augria Mountain to undo the next lock. As they leave the forest, Maria appears and is surprised to feel the power of Kaesel's holy sword. She reveals that the holy sword is Lua's curse and disappears immediately. They reach a town where they decide to stay for the night. Cleo spends all their money and now she wants a fluffy bed, so she goes to get a job in town. But due to a mistake, they get kicked out and have to spend the night outside. The next day, Roy sells his knife for money. Cleo works at a restaurant to earn money. The whole day, they do all the stuff like cleaning, washing the dishes, and fixing the doors, chairs, and roof. Madam says that this was once a town full of travelers, but the war came and everything was burned. This includes Madam's family. Later, Cleo realizes that her magic can hurt people. Demons attack the restaurant, but Cleo is hesitant to use her magic. However, she manages to save everybody later by using her magic wisely. Roy then arrives and reveals that he has made some money for them. They then lead them towards their destination. While walking, Rahit hears Princess Scarlet and Bale discussing the Dark Lord's return with Ophelia. Rahit meets Princess Scarlet and agrees to join the knights to hunt the demons. Later, Princess Scarlet introduces Rahit to other knights and allies of Black Edge. Zero speaks badly about them, so Scarlet warns everyone to respect them. At the meeting, Demia talks about demons near the forest of Elidora. Rahit suggests investigating and reorganizing the army to protect everyone, not just those in the castle. Zero gets angry. One of the Black Edge members gets attacked in town. Rahit guessed Zero planned the attack. He told Morahum, who asked Rahit to get evidence. Scarlet apologizes to Rahit. Later, Rahit goes to their place and finds the sword of Zero's man. He tells Zero to stay away from his friends. In the forest, Cleo argues with Frey, and suddenly, a child girl appears there and runs away, but Frey seems concerned. They argued for a partner to help guide them. They start walking and Hendel, the mayor of a village, greets them. He tells them about the people's condition and the attack of demons, so they all decide to help. In the village, Frey sees the same child Elise, who does not talk. Frey hugs her outside to calm her. Later, Frey asks her friends to stay in the village. Frey plays with all the children, but Elise is reluctant. She draws yellow flowers only, which are her mother's favorite. Elise tells Frey that her mother was killed by demons. They make a dish out of those flowers. Cleo later hears Hendel asking Frey to stay, and she tells Kaesel and Roy. In the morning, they are ready to leave the village. But then, Elise tricks Frey into locking her in a room and asking her to stay. Kaesel and others are looking for Frey. Kaesel comes across Elise while she's leading him to the room. Then, they are attacked by demons, but Frey escapes the room. After defeating the demons, they both leave the village. Kaesel and friends see a destroyed place. Cleo finds something odd. Kaesel approaches a man, but he is undead. They are surrounded by undead human-like demons but manage to escape and meet Johan. Johan describes the attack as demons and undead villagers attacking again. He is the only survivor and Elise's father. Everyone tells him to meet his daughter, but he doesn't want to leave the place. Johan suggests that they all stay for the night so he can lead them to Augria Mountain. Later, they talk about the undead controlled by demons. The undead are also found in King Kyle's era. At night, Kaesel gets up and finds undead Lisa in the basement. Johan tries to explain to him that she is dead, and Kaesel angrily tells him to go to Elise. Johan again goes to Lisa, who attacked him. Kaesel and his friends save him, but the noise attracts other undead in the village. They all fight, and Johan decides to kill Lisa too. In the castle, Claus thanks Rahit for saving Kaesel and his friends, while Scarlet is worried for the health of the king. Scarlet talks to Rahit about the nobles and wants to protect everyone in Orvelia. Scarlet says it's Lee's day, the return of the Dark Lord. Demia shows where the resurrection will happen, the Galua Plains. Rahit offers to investigate, so Scarlet says to get ready for the expedition. At night, Rahit's sister, Ripine, confronts one of the Black Edge's members for being too close to a human. She tells him her wish to see his brother as a leader of the nation and also warns him if gets in his way, he will be killed. Malduk is excited about humanity's death. In the past, after a king died, he suggested Princess Jane to bring back her father through forbidden magic. He got the king undead, but Theo exiled Malduk. Malduk wants revenge, and Maria agrees to help him bring back the Dark Lord. Kasil and his friends were moving from the Ogria Mountains. They helped orcs fight with the undead. Master Kala and Dale introduce themselves and are waiting for Kasil. Kasil asks to meet Ayatollah, the orc chief, to unseal the holy sword, but instead finds Sieg, the new chief. Master Kala agrees to take only Kasil to the chief and vows to protect him. Near the river, Frey and Kasil wait and chat. Frey is worried for Kasil. They talk about orcs' tattoos and shamanistic things. Suddenly, 2 orcs approach them. Master Kala introduces Kasil to Chief Siege as heir of Holy Sword, but Chief demands evidence. Kasil has to defeat Chief. Master Kala offered to sacrifice himself, but Kasil tried to get the Chief to help. Chief delivered the last message of Ayatollah, and Kala took Kasil to the holy shrine while his friends were kept hostage until he returned. Kala takes Kasil to the holy shrine and tells him about the trial. Kasil enters the shrine and hears voices at the altar. The voices say something about showing his heart. Kasil hears the same voice again. He enters a door and goes back to a memory from childhood with his mother. This happens while his friends are talking about orc life in the mountains. They are optimistic about Kasil's trial. In his dream, young Kasil is enjoying himself with his mother, but he feels something and wakes up, realizing his mother is dead. His mother's spirit tries to stop him from leaving. Kasil denies it and leaves anyway. He meets the spirit of Ayatollah, which gives the key to unseal the holy sword. Kala and Kasil return, and Kasil gives talisman to Chief Sieg, who unlocks the seal. Chief Sieg advises Kasil to be strong and vows to fight alongside him against the Dark Lord. While they are talking, Malduk appears and asks about the holy sword Ea. Chief Sieg recognizes Malduk and fights him, but he dies in one hit. Kasil and his friends also fight with him, and Malduk senses the power of the sword from Kasil. With some teamwork, Kasil manages to cut some strands of Malduk's hair. Oh Boy gets angry over his L'Oreal hair being cut and furiously attacks Frey. Kasil goes, me angry me smash mode and fights Malduk. Malduk notices Kasil shine bright like a diamond and disappears. Meanwhile, a blast occurs leaving Kasil unconscious. While Kasil rests on the bed, Frey writes a letter to Claus about their hardships and Kasil's destiny to inherit the Holy Sword. While Frey is taking care of Kasil, Cleo asks about Kasil's health. After seeing Frey's letter, Cleo also decides to write a letter to Dominix to tell him about her adventures. Meanwhile, in the forest of Elidora, Lorraine and Selene are worried for Kasil and wish that he meets Pavel to unlock the 3rd seal. This is all for this anime. Give the video a like, and I will see you in the next minutes.